Starting to the top right in the red is the NS Hosol player. They are down 2 maps already. And this Terran really has to edge out a win now. It is
NS Hosol Sculptor!
Sculpt did really well so far in the GSTL. When they were facing StarTail, he was actually able to defeat not only Squirtle but also King Kong and Curious. Didn't face a Terran player there though. And now he is up against a very strong one. Starting to the bottom left of the map in the blue. We have the FXO player.
FXO Gumiho!
Historically speaking, he's a bit weak against Terran, especially when you compare it to his matchup against Protoss and against Zerg, but we've seen very good control of him in both games that he played today, so Sculpt definitely has not an easy road ahead of him.
Yeah, and to pull Sculpt out here is a choice that may just be because they feel that Gumiho is weak in this matchup, but also it's cool because if he beats Gumiho, then he is an all-around good player to pull out, so it's going to make the FXOpen choice very serious. They're going to have to actually really focus and pay attention to what they do next. I mean, they can't just pull anybody out against this player. He is really strong.
And he starts with gas. We have him start with a gas after the barracks, and well, the thing is that with the build that he currently chooses, he already signals his opponent, okay, I will be the aggressor in this game. I will be the one who tries to do some damage with my tech. And we'll find out if he's able to do it. Gumiho, on the other hand, has no refinery. He will start with the 1 barracks into expand here.
Which is kind of risky considering that he did not wall as well. So there's a possibility that he faces pressure on the ground by a Hellion. With no wall to help him, it's going to be kind of tough. Because even though his natural will be the main area that's exposed, he may have to face units in his main base. Most players will make a bunker on the low ground that can probably shut down any sort of attack that's done via ground like Hellions, but got to be careful about that. That's a choice that he's made here. It's a choice that in the beta and in the early stages of release, people never would wall off in this matchup because siege tank pushes with Vikings were the bread and butter. And if you face that push, you're trying to hold a command center in your main, you lose your depots, you lose your barracks. It's unfortunate, and you start to fall behind as a result. Nice denial on the scout here by Sculpt.
The factory is already halfway done for the NS Hosol Terran, and let's see what exactly he's going to do. Currently, with all the gas he has double refineries. He will go for the Banshee build. But in Terran versus Terran, there are a lot of different styles that you can actually play. If you start with the mech build players like Nama and, well, Holt, that I just casted a few hours ago, Nama, for example, would start with 1 gas in the factory at the gases, sec gases a little bit later, but just try to get a few Hellions into the map and trying to sneak by his opponent's defenses to take down a few SCVs. And this can be really dangerous, especially when you combine it with the Medivac to elevate some of your units into the opponent's main base.
Yeah, and the healing factor there as well can be quite crazy. It's actually one of the most difficult pushes to deal with. One Rax expand, there's, even if you go for Banshee expand, that type of pressure can really be tough to deal with. If you don't react immediately, things get out of hand so fast. Well, Gumiho is going for that Banshee play, and it is probably going to be with Cloak. He's got 300 gas and go 1-2, boom, Banshee and Cloak, just like we saw yesterday in our final match. It's a very common build to see. He's going to throw a command center down, but it will be late, so he does rely on the damage that this Banshee will attempt to do. And with the timings of this, there will be a Viking out most likely, but the question is, will he save those very crucial scans, and will he get turrets up in time? Those are really going to be the deciders as to whether or not this does damage. Plus, the Viking control has to be good as well.
Exactly. If you don't kill the Banshee with the first scan, then you have to sacrifice another one. Your Viking might be a bit out of position, so this is always a little bit tricky. But what's pretty interesting here is that we actually have the FXO player not only with a single starport, but we start straight away with 2 of them.
This is actually pretty cool. Now, the reason why this is important is because when you go for Banshee play, usually you make at least 2 Banshees, so he knows he's going to start with air control. And this way, he's already scouted that his opponent doesn't have a command center, so Banshee play is likely. And from here, this allows him to transition into taking air control early.
And he also spotted with the scan that there is a tech lab to the left side, and the only thing that there could actually be positioned is a starport, so he knows exactly what is going on here. And there they are, double Viking in production.
Double Viking, eBay, not quite done. He does not actually have more than 1 scan. He's only got the 1 here, and he's got to use it well. He wants to wait for the Vikings, but nice control on the Marines so far, and actually he hasn't used his Cloak.
Wow, that's quite
He had Cloak and he didn't use it. I cannot believe this.
This is really huge oversight by Scalp. This is something that should not happen.
Gumiho saves his Hellion on the Watchtower, very map aware. Double turrets going up, they're going to finish. And with the Vikings he has that he can spread and split, he's saving scans. Didn't even have to use that first one, didn't drop a Mule, so he will have about 3 scans available to him when the next Banshee gets here. And let me tell you how ineffective it's going to be. Well, actually, I don't have to tell you, you're about to watch.
With the scan, he will...
he's not even going to use the scan because the turret is there.
To now. He uses the scan, and Banshee number 2 dies, so Scalp is in trouble. He lost 2 Banshees, and how many units did he actually kill? 4. He killed 4 Marines.
Now the counter cloak comes out with a Raven. That's a lot of gas, but he is spending it here. When he sees the 2 Vikings, that doesn't look unusual, because if he made the Viking right away and the second Viking came out, that would be pretty normal to have 2 Vikings when the second Banshee arrives. So this is not going to be something that he's going to have any idea about. Didn't see the second starport, and this transition can be quite scary to deal with, because when you have the Raven to support the Banshees, as well as the Vikings, you have that air control. You can start picking off siege tanks like crazy. It's hard to kill a Banshee with Marines when there are that many Vikings in the air, and with the Banshee having cloak, he's actually going double Banshee right now. This is unusual.
Well, with the second starport, you could already tell that he is going for a sky build here, that he's really trying to make this air build work, and this is something that I haven't seen in a long time in TVT. Yeah, not in the early game. Sometimes in the late game, of course, you have the transition into air units, but starting right away with double starport and trying to make it work, this is really, really weird. Well, not weird, it's pretty cool. I actually like it, so not in a bad way. It's really
And now,
original.
The double factory. He's going into mech here, and that's, of course, what most would expect when he's going for this type of Banshee play. But when will he go? What sort of timing will he get? It looks like he's going to send his first Banshee to the right side to do a little bit of harassment. And the second Banshee has gone to the north, so he's actually going to do 2-pronged double cloak Banshee. That's late, delayed. There's no turrets in play. In fact, there is a Raven, but one Raven with just a few Marines. The Marines are actually moving across the left side with some tanks right now. They're going to be caught off guard, but they will force a cancel on this command center. So this is going to be something that both players are going to struggle to deal with.
He definitely has to, will force a cancel here, and there it is. It's cancelled, and at the same time, what is Gumiho now doing with this air unit? He's moving in with Banshee number 1. Only showing one of them, and the second at the natural, trying to do some damage here. The main base is already being assailed. I'm not quite sure if Scalp realized that he's losing SCVs there. Now he knows, pulls them off, but already lost quite a significant amount of SCVs in the main.
Well, the thing is, like, where is he going to pull them to at this point either, with both Banshees doing damage? He's trying to use an auto turret in his main to defend, which will, be kind of nice, but he doesn't have enough Marines, as his Marines were out of position, forcing the cancel on the third. So now he's going to lose the last of his Marines he scans, but what is that going to accomplish?
Why would you scan when you have only 1 Marine? I think he didn't realize that he only had 1 Marine left. And look at how many SCVs are dying. 12 kills on this Banshee already.
He's going to kill a tank as well. He does not have any scans. Where's the Raven?
Gumiho is taking him apart. It's not only about the Raven, it's about the anti-air. He doesn't have a lot.
He's going to lose his second tank. His Raven was not in position to defend it.
Oh, unbelievable. The damage that Gumiho deals his opponent here. It is crazy.
And he's not even necessarily going to get this one. Oh, gets it. That would have been
scanned.
atrocious if he didn't get that one.
Well, that was nice, but still, he sacrificed 2 scans. He lost a lot of Marines. He lost SCVs. How many did he lose in total? 14 SCVs, lost 2 tanks. Oh, wow. This is really, really bad news for Scalp.
The third base is done again now for Gumiho, and he's going to hit a pretty strong timing attack here. You have a ton of Hellions out on the map. He's limited the Marine count. He took out 2 tanks as well. These Hellions may just bully their way past. If these tanks are unsieged especially, he may just be able to sacrifice the Hellions, trade them for SCVs here. They are spotted now.
Gumiho is currently doubling the army supply of Scalp. He has 61 to 30. And
he's 50 supply ahead at the 13-minute mark.
This is another Banshee goes into the main base.
And there is a turret and an auto turret as well. But he doesn't lose the Banshee. He's now trying to hunt it with the Vikings and the Raven. But this could be devastating. Gumiho not actually going to hit that timing, but rather is going to double expand, taking the third base to the left side as well as the center base.
He will be on 4 bases.
And he may lose another tank.
He's going to lose another tank for sure. The tank dies. This is way too much. The damage that Gumiho has already dealt to Scalp is... I'm lacking the words to describe to you guys how bad in a position Scalp was actually in right now. We have him losing 3,000 resources already.
Versus 1,000. It's triple. I mean, that is insane. there have hardly ever been leads like this one. And he is getting ready to put some serious pressure on. If those units move out for a second, he will punish him. Looks like he wants to actually start attacking with his Banshees, using the Vikings to take out the Raven. Oh, this is not a battle that Sculpt can win.
No,
he drops a point defense drone, but it's not going to stop the chase.
Yeah, it is definitely not. A stim with the Marines, and here comes Gumiho. He has had enough with this. He's going in. No, he doesn't. He sees the siege tanks like, well, maybe I'll wait a second and try to snipe one or two of them.
And he will be able to get them with the point defense from defending his units here. It's so difficult.
God,
the Raven!
The
Still
Raven
alive for now, but oh!
He's picking off the tanks one by one, bit by bit, and as soon as those blue flame hellions move in, it will be, well, this game will be over. I don't see Sculpt defending this, maybe with a miracle, but he's over-stimming as well.
Oh yeah, he uses a stim, and against this many blue flame hellions, those low hit point Marines are not going to be something he can fight with. This game may just end here.
He's getting slaughtered. He's getting slaughtered here.
This is it, 50 supply difference here. The Banshees remain alive. There's no detection, there's no Raven, there's hardly any Marines.
He's able to defend, to hold him for a little bit longer, but he has to pull the SCVs as well. This missile turret is not going to be enough, and here comes Sculpt. He's trying to make a last stand. The siege tanks are ready, the blue flame hellions in position, and Ernest Hosa Sculpt is down to 50 supply. And this is it. FXOpen will take the third win, will take a significant lead in this team match. Sculpt is trying to edge out a win here, but he's up against 4 bases. Types GG.
GG
Wow.
indeed. What damage done. What a brilliant build. Double Banshee, and what he did with it, the reaction from Sculpt seemed a little bit awkward. He was nervous or something. He did not defend as well as he could have. His Marines were out of position, so that was unfortunate. But then with the Vikings that he made, he wasn't able to control his Raven. He lost way too many siege tanks. He could have pulled his tanks back to where the Raven was. He didn't need to have them at the front, but he just wasn't able to multitask against Gumiho. Gumiho looked phenomenal in this game, and Sculpt, though, he honestly looked weak.
Yeah, he did. Gumiho showcased that he is in top shape today, and that Ernest Hosa has to. They have to show the big guns right now. I think they have to pull a Jagji here.
I think absolutely right. I could not agree more. You got to pull out a sniper now because it's 3 games now. We saw this yesterday with JYP. He got a little bit out of control, and it shows. We saw in yesterday's games that you can come back when you're at the deficit like this, but it's not going to be easy. This is serious times right now for Ernest Hosa. I think Jagji, they've got to pull him out here 100%.
And it's going to be difficult, even if you pull Jagji out and even if he wins, then suddenly you have all these great players at the FXOpen edge that can snipe Jagji. You have Lenok, you have Lucky, the Zergs in particular, of course. But it is just incredible difficult for Ernest Hosa to choose a player right now to make the right choice when you're down 3 maps already.
It's an unfortunate situation to be in. That's a tough game to lose to for morale of the team. Losing a game like that, I've cast so few games that were as one-sided as this one.
They need a Freaky here. They need a player like Freaky that has a good shot at a Terran player. He really likes the Infestor play. I think that might be something that Gumiho here might be vulnerable to. But so far, the Terran player looked so strong. I mean, 3-0 already.
Yeah.
And the games were, some of the games were like the last one. This was basically him. This was him. He killed him. He assassinated him.
It was an ownage, man. He got totally owned. It was rough. San at the top left, man. If they pull him out here,
yes.
Well, they are. San comes out showing that old hairstyles never die, and so neither does he. I mean, he actually has shown great late game Protoss versus Terran, and he was called the Whack-A-Mole Protoss by Tastosis for this reason. He showed great usage. He actually used the Kyogre and Amulet better than anyone else ever did before it was removed from the game, I have to say.
He doesn't have to whack a mole, but Gumiho right now, and he has to whack him good, because if this guy is edging out another win, then Ernest Hosa is down for the count. They really need a miracle right now. Maybe not a miracle, but at least someone who steps it up and takes up the responsibility to face FXO and put a few points onto the scoreboard of Ernest Hosa.
Yeah, they really, really need a win right now. And San, he is their man. He is the man of choice. We'll see if he can pull it off here. We don't know the map choice just yet, and I think We're actually going to have to wait a little bit longer before we can get that. No, I can sneak in. I'm going to tell you guys, before we take a 5-minute break, the map is in fact going to be Whirlwind. A big map and a great map for Protoss versus Terran if you can get to that late game. We'll see you guys in 5 and find out if the man Zenith can take him out.
Save like a piggy bank on it and build me.